ముంబైలో రిజర్వ్ బ్యాంక్ గవర్నర్ రఘురామ్ రాజన్ మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. ప్రత్యక్షంగా చూద్దాం.
We have plenty of dollars that we can supply if necessary. We are also committed to supply short-term rupee liquidity to the extent needed to support our monetary stance. The second concern on liquidity has been a question about how long we propose to take to move from a situation of systemic liquidity deficit to one of close to neutrality. Now, this is something that depends on the market and external conditions. As you know, we've already infused a fair amount of durable liquidity into the markets. In addition, we are seeing some reduction in outstanding cash balances. We will not commit to a time frame by which we will move to a neutral position, but we will be opportunistic in moving the system towards that goal. Finally, on the bank cleanup, we are working together with the government on facilitating the process. There are discussions going on mechanisms that will leave projects with the right capital structures as well as access to credit, with also some incentives for promoters to earn their way out of difficulty. SEBI is also being consulted on these issues. There's also some talk of a variety of funds to invest in stressed situations. However, and let me emphasize this, there is no intent to go back to the days of forbearance or reverse the move towards transparent bank balance sheets. Let me stop there and we can take questions now.
Thank you, sir. Supriya.
Good afternoon, Governor. Good morning, Governor. The question that I want to ask you is a takeaway from the policy. It seems to me that you are being a little hawkish on inflation. So is that reading correct? Because a lot of what has been said in the policy as far as the April forecast is concerned, you've said there's an upside bias to it now. You've said there's inflationary pressure emanating from food and commodity prices. The question that one would want to ask you at this stage is there a probability of the 5% target being revised upwards? That's point number one. And point number two, a lot of the heavy lifting is expected to be done by the monsoon. So are we expecting a pause in the August and the October policy as well? That's one part of the question. And the second part of the question is commodity. Okay. One second. The commodity prices that you spoke about, how has that changed the dynamics of both monetary and fiscal policy? And if you give me the liberty of asking you a third question, there's too much noise about...
Later.
All right.
Look, that's a lot of, those are a lot of questions. Look, all we are saying is that relative to our April stance, the data that came in surprised on the upside. I don't think there's any news about that. The inflation reading in April was higher than anybody in the markets or we expected. Now, going forward, we have to see how it pans out. It is 1 month's readings. We have to see how, as you said, the monsoon plays out, how that affects food prices. We have to look at supply management by the government. So a variety of factors will come into play. And I wouldn't term, I hate these bird analogies, hawkish, dovish, etc. I would just say it's a realistic assessment of the data that have come in. There are potential disinflationary pressures. There are also potential inflationary pressures. The net effect is we've put a little more weight on upside risk to inflation, but we have to wait and see. The target is obviously 5% by March 2017. That target is there for us to attain, and we have to figure out how to attain it.